This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to talk about why most cutting diets fail. And believe me, I'm an expert in why they fail because I have failed to lose weight many times. And most of the time it was in my 20s before I had enough self-discipline to stick with a diet. So we're going to go through the causes. I work with lots of people coaching, and I see all sorts of things happen. And just, I've been at this for a long time. I worked as a personal trainer all through college and did some nutritional work back then. So I've been at this off and on for 30 plus years. I just kind of kicked the training back up again. I did a fair amount in my 20s, and then I kind of got away from it. But I've seen a lot of this over the years. I worked with people. I've always had a handful of people I've worked with. Now more than that. But there are common traits that I see between the people that fail and the people that succeed, and it's always the same things. And I always see the same reasons that some people have success and the same reasons that some people fail. We're going to dig into it in just 1 second. All right, the number one reason that most diets fail is just purely compliance. People just don't follow the fucking diet, and they can't stick to the diet. And there's a multitude of reasons that happens, and we'll dig a little deeper. And I know this sounds pretty obvious and very surface level shit, but people they just don't stick to the diet. They can't commit to weighing and measuring food. I think that is the first step. I assume that people already know how to eat somewhat clean. If you're, massively overweight, obese, and you just need some place to start, you can just start by cleaning up your diet, and you will lose some weight just by cleaning up your diet. But I feel like my content is geared more towards people that are, physique athletes and gym bros, and most of you already have somewhat of an idea how to eat clean. They where people get themselves in trouble with the diet compliance is not weighing and measuring the food, not sticking to the plan, snacking. That's what I'm guilty of in the off season. I got kids, and there's constantly shit around. They eat like shit, and I'll take a bite of this, I'll take a bite of that, and before you know it, at the end of the day, you thought you were in a 500 calorie deficit and you're in a 500 calorie surplus. Hidden calories, this is another thing. I get people all the time that tell me, Coach, I'm following your plan, I don't know what's going on. And we dig into we look at their actual content of their food, and we take a look, and instead of eating chicken breasts, they're eating chicken thighs, which have a shit ton of fat in them. So instead of being in a deficit, they're probably in a surplus. Condiments are a big one that get people in trouble. I can't tell you how many people I've run into that dump fucking barbecue sauce all over everything. And if you look at the nutritional barbecue sauce, like 2 tablespoons of most barbecue sauce is something like 90 calories. It is a crazy amount of sugar in it. So that is a thing to be careful with. People think they're in a deficit, and they're not. Drinks are another thing that people get themselves in trouble with. Juices, lattes, smoothies. Oh, a smoothie's healthy. I would have a smoothie, and you look at it, it's 500 calories in the smoothie. Or grabbing that, my gym has a protein shake bar. No offense to my gym, but those things are just loaded with fucking calories. They're basically a milkshake that's got protein powder in them. So people are throwing almond butter and milk and all kinds of shit in there. It's got all this stuff. Alcohol is another one I see. Like, people think they're they're following the diet, but they're drinking 4 beers every day. So they've got a 600, 800 calories in beers, or mixed drinks. Mixed drinks have a ton of calories in them. Another thing I see people do all the time is they as far as diet compliance goes, they miss meals, and then what they end up doing, they get hungry and they binge on the next meal. I've been guilty of it. It's happened to me before too. So diet compliance, actually following the diet and following it strictly, watching for hidden calories is the first place to start when you're trying to cut weight. Unsustainable diets. I have seen this time and time and time again. People follow some diet that I consider to be unsustainable for the long term, and then they just end up, they'll lose a little weight, and then they just end up rebounding and gaining all that back, plus some. I know I'm going to piss some people off when I say this, and I'm not trying to shit all over your diet. I am not one of these diet Nazis that has one way of dieting, and I think that's the only way you can diet. I have a preference for carb cycling for physique athletes, but things like keto work great for endurance athletes, and if you have issues with insulin sensitivity, sometimes something like keto can be a way to get you back in check. But any diet, in my experience, any diet where you're completely eliminating an entire macro group, so with keto, you're completely eliminating carbs. With carnivore, for the most part, you're completely eliminating carbs or any processed foods. Vegetarian or vegan diets, you're not eating any meats or animal products. So no protein, not real protein. Zero fat diets, anything where you're eliminating entire food groups or macros, or, saying you can't eat. The diets that are super restrictive, people almost always end up cracking at some point and fucking up. And then when they do, they go on a food bender and gain all that weight back. So I have found the most sustainable diets are ones that have a lot of diet flexibility, where you can pick and choose foods and add in. On my diets that I build for clients, I build in cheat meals. I let them, on high days, they can eat sugary foods, and we still lose weight because of net energy balance. And that keeps people from going insane. So, being able to maintain your sanity and once again, diet compliance is important. So if you have a super strict diet where you're eliminating an entire macro group, keto I find to be the hardest. I've tried every fucking diet known to man, and I know some people thrive off of keto and love keto, but I cannot stick to a keto diet for the life of me. I get so carb depleted. I have crazy carb cravings, and I just lose my goddamn mind after a while. And I found that to be the case with most people. Cravings for missing macros. I mean, when you have these missing macros, people get crazy cravings when you're protein depleted. I have a friend shall remain nameless, but I have a friend that is an acquaintance that is often on vegan, vegetarian, and then they'll smell meat and they say, "Hey, that smells great," and then they slip and have a bite. The reason why it smells great is because you probably fucking need it. You're deficient in essential amino acids. Same thing when your body craves carbs, because carbs are what fuels your brain for the most part. Low fat, when you're super low fat, you get a malaise and you start craving fatty foods because you need essential fatty acids to survive. So I just, I think you have to have plan sheets. You need to, be flexible with your dieting, have options available, and ultimately at the end of the day, losing weight is about net energy balance. Establishing habits. This is another big thing. Most people don't stick to a diet long enough to actually get in the groove of doing it. I tell my clients that work with me that the first 3 to 4 weeks are critical. If you can get in a groove of doing everything and committing to it for 3 or 4 weeks, then it gets easier. That's just been my experience. So if you're only doing the diet a couple days at a time and you give up, then you're constantly pushing the reset button and you never make any progress and you just get stuck in the mud. Things like not consistently measuring, eyeball it this meal. It's really easy. I'm pretty good at eyeballing stuff because I've been doing diets for off and on for 30 years. So I'm pretty good at eyeballing stuff, but even still, I'm off. Sometimes in the off season, I'll use a measuring cup instead of the scale. But even when you look at the measuring cup versus the scale, you can be, 15, 20 grams of carbs off when measuring a cup of rice, and that ends up being 60, 70 calories a meal. You do that across 6 meals, you're talking about 400 or 500 calories a day. And then over the week, that's 3,500 calories. That's a pound of fat that you could have burned just from measuring with a scale versus a measuring cup. So getting into good habits, establishing those habits, making sure you're packing meals when you go out, sticking to the plan, measuring and weighing everything, eating things that are on your food list, not missing meals, all this stuff. If you can just commit to that to 3 or 4 weeks, then it gets to be habit and it becomes easier. It's always starting the diet is the hardest part. That's once you get in a groove and you start seeing progress, it gets easier. Psychology. This is the psychology of dieting. This is where a lot of people get fucked up. Dieting really messes with your head, especially as you get depleted towards the end. On contest prep, anybody who's done contest prep can tell you how messed up your brain is towards the end of contest prep. You are not thinking clearly. And I see it with gym bros a lot of times. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody come to me, hey, coach, I'm feeling flat. I think I need a refeed. Dude, you got 30 pounds of fat on you. There's plenty of fat to feed off of. You don't need a fucking refeed yet. You're not at that point of the diet yet. But yet, there's a saying in bodybuilding: you got to get flat to lose fat. That is part of the process. Your workouts suck at some point because you're carb depleted. Carbs really, we try to keep people somewhat full with carb cycling when I do carb cycling with people, but still you get in a glycogen depleted state and your workouts just aren't as good. And then you get in the skinny fat phase where you're halfway through the diet and you're flat and you still have a layer of body fat on you where you can't see any definition and it feels like you're getting smaller. Guys are like, oh my God, I'm losing all my fucking muscle. I need to eat some food. I need to have a hamburger and french fries. For some reason, everybody thinks a hamburger and french fries with a milkshake is the savior of their muscle mass, that they must have it. And it's really hard to see changes day to day too. That messes with people's head when they wake up and they're like, damn, I'm starving. I feel like shit. My workouts suck. I'm not making any progress. Fuck this diet. I'm off of it. Peer pressure. This is another one. I see a lot of people crack on diets because of peer pressure. And usually it is the significant other that's the cause. You get a significant other that's like, well, can't you just have some pizza tonight? Can't you just have a piece of cake? Can't we just go out to dinner? Can't we just have a few drinks? An unsupportive partner can really wreck a diet. And it's hard to say no to that if you have a partner that's been there before. You have a partner that's just riding your ass. It's like, come on, man, this is stupid. Let's go out to dinner. Why do you have to eat chicken and rice all the time? And then the next thing you know, you're off the diet. You fucked a whole week's worth of progress up because you go out and eat a shitty meal. Friends making fun of you. That I don't get that so much now that I'm older because I really don't have friends. I hate people. No, honestly, the people that I hang out with are generally supportive and they're in this community. But when you're younger, and you're bringing your chicken and rice to the barbecue kegger or whatever, and you're not drinking alcohol and you're eating rice while everybody else is hammering down burgers and fries and eating potato chips and drinking Miller Lite, and you're over there with your chicken breasts and bottle of spring water, and everybody's making fun of you. All your friends are busting your balls. That makes things really hard too. Family events, I can't tell you. When I've been on contest prep, I go to my mom's house for Easter or Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, and she's like, you look like you're starving. You need a piece of chocolate cake. I'm worried about you. Oh my God. Or why can't you just have Thanksgiving dinner with us? Why can't you have Easter dinner with us? Just eat. And it's really hard to say no to mom or grandma. There's also the all or none attitude. I get a lot of people that will slip up once. I've been there. And they get the, oh, fuck it, I'm done with this. You know, they eat a piece of cake and then they end up eating the whole fucking cake and they're off the diet. They're just done. I've been there. Done that myself. I remember prepping for a contest when I was in my 20s and I got about 2/3 of the way through it. I was down to like the last 6 weeks. And I had some pizza and beer with my friends and I'm just like, fuck this, I'm done. I'm not doing this stupid bodybuilding show. And it was back on the pizza and beer. And then the emotional eating. I deserve this treat. I had a rough day. No, you don't deserve that. I understand that as well. My mom, when I was a kid, she would always, her way of dealing with a bad day was to bake cookies, bake a cake. So it was like, I'm sorry, honey, you had a bad day. Let me get you some ice cream. Let me make you cookies. Let me make you cookies. Let me make you a cake. And then you tie your emotions and emotional satisfaction to eating. I am an emotional eater. I will admit it, and I have struggled with it in the past. I've been obese at times. And it's a constant battle, and it's easy to tell yourself, well, I've been dieting hard. I had a rough day. I deserve this. Wrong. Wrong way to look at it. That is a bad relationship with food. I promise you. Diet frustration. This is probably the biggest thing that I see. Well, one of the biggest things outside of diet compliance that I see with people. I have people that start off great, but they make it 6 or 8 weeks into the diet, and they just like, I'm not seeing results, coach. I feel like I should be making better progress. I don't think this is working. They start talking to other coaches. They start talking to, they start trying different diet plans. They start, whatever. And they just give up. And they go start all over again with somebody else. And then they don't make any progress. I see it all the time. I see it at the gym. I've seen it with past clients. It's the people that give up out of frustration. They don't wait long enough to actually see the results. And that's the crappy thing with diets. I will tell you, on a 16-week contest prep in the past, when I've done them, you don't really see the great results until like the last 4 to 6 weeks. That first 10, or if you're doing a 20-week contest prep, the first 2/3 of it, you don't look much different day to day. And really what happens is you just end up getting smaller and you still have a layer of body fat and water over top of everything and you can't really see any definition and you just feel like you're losing all your muscle and you're like, fuck, this coach doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Screw this, I'm quitting and I'm going to do my own thing. And then you're making nowhere. So you have to commit to the diet. You got to make it to the end. So tips, I just said it. Commit to the plan. Even if you don't like your coach, just commit to the coach. Get through the diet. I've been there before. You just stick to the plan, get through it, and then you reevaluate it at the end. If things didn't turn out the way that you think, a lot of times your brain's just fucking with you. The coach is usually right. It's hard to be objective about yourself when you're on a diet. Fuck, I know what I'm doing. I know how to get in shape, but I can't be objective about myself. It's almost impossible. So that's why I pay for a coach. I always have. Especially when I'm dieting. I need somebody to keep my head straight and to keep me on track. Don't give up. Just don't give up. Don't get halfway through and give up. It really is that simple. Just keep grinding. If you make a mistake, screw ups happen. Most people don't make it through an entire diet without having some sort of screw up. I've done it before. I've my last 2 contest preps, I feel like I was pretty damn near close to perfect. But there were times, maybe where I grabbed a bite of this or a bite of that. But I've gotten better with diet compliance as I've gotten older. When I was younger, I was not so good with things. I have more discipline now that I'm older. I'm able to push myself. I think that comes with age and experience. And willpower. As you get older, you tend to have more willpower. But screw-ups happen. If they happen, just get back on the horse. I get people reach out to me and it's like, oh shit, I messed up my last meal. Should I skip my next one? No. Do not skip your next meal. Just get back on plan, get back on track. We'll figure it out. Skipping the next meal or doing extra cardio or whatever, you just get past it. Just move on. If you screw up, don't screw up again. Just get back on the horse. Set a hard goal. This is a huge thing I've seen. Guess who are the people that have the most success? People that have a looming deadline. People that have a contest coming up. People that have a wedding. People that have a class reunion. People that have some big event that they need to diet down for, a photo shoot. Whatever. Those people most of the time are successful because they've got that looming deadline ahead of them that they need to get ready for, and they stick to the plan. It's the people that have nothing, that it's just nebulous. I just want to lose some body fat, that a lot of times I see struggle. So that's why I encourage young guys who say, I don't know if I'm ready to do a contest yet. Just fucking do one, man. Don't, you might not be big enough. Who cares? You just get the experience, get out there and do it. Put yourself on the line. And then when you have that date looming over you, you're more motivated. And, you just get the experience and the habit of dieting. And there is a process to learning how to diet. It really is a process learning how to diet and to push yourself. Don't listen to the bros at the gym. You get some horrible advice on dieting, when you're at the point where you feel like I'm not making progress. And then Joe Blow at the gym says, well, I wouldn't do it that way. And then you start second guessing yourself and you start second guessing your coach. You just got to put on the blinders, tunnel vision. Take it one day at a time. That is another thing too. When you look at, I forget who told me this analogy, but it's not mine original. But when you're trying to climb Mount Everest, people that have done mountain climbing, and you look at the top, it seems impossibly far away. And you're just taking one step at a time towards the top of that mountain, and you don't really see any progress as you're taking one step, but you are. It's just imperceivable. The one step doesn't seem like much, but it is one step closer. So just put your head down, keep marching forward, and you will get to the top eventually. Avoid partying, avoid recreational drugs. I've seen so many people fuck up their diets from marijuana. Believe me, I like to smoke one every once in a while, but it is not good for diet compliance. Bad decisions, bad things happen after you get high. That's when the Doritos and the ice cream pints come out, is after you got high. So just be really, really careful with that. And have a sustainable diet plan, something that you can actually stick to. Like I said, I feel like a broken record, but some of these diets where you eliminate entire macro groups, they're just impossible to stick to. And I hear some coaches that are like, you can't have cheat meals, you got to eat cod and rice for every meal. You don't have to do that. You can still... I was eating Captain Crunch the week before my bodybuilding show, and I was like 5% body fat on stage. You can get ripped. I'm not encouraging people to eat like complete shit. Certainly food choices have an impact on your health and body composition, but you need something that's sustainable. I do plan cheats for my clients just because of that, because we're not robots, and you also have to keep your spouse or your partner happy. So you can plan, if you just plan your cheat meal around that. Hey, babe, let's go, or hey, partner, let's go out on Saturday night and we'll have dinner. That goes a long way to keeping them happy, and it helps them support you when you're not eating chicken and rice 7 days a week for an entire 16 to 20 week cut. So just a thought. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.